In a shocking move on April 10th, Congress passed the Safe Save Act, a piece of legislation that is already being condemned by civil rights advocates and women's rights organizations across the country. The bill, which its supporters claim is aimed at preventing voter fraud and enhancing election security, includes a deeply troubling provision that disproportionately affects women. Individuals whose names on their birth certificates do not exactly match the names on their current government-issued IDs will no longer be eligible to vote without additional documentation. Now, the mainstream media wants to literally choke us to death by ramming every little thing Donald Trump and Elon Musk does down our throats, but there has been very little fanfare over this. How peculiar. This provision poses a significant threat to women's voting rights, particularly for those who have changed their names due to marriage or divorce. For decades, it has been common for women to adopt their spouse's surname, a tradition deeply ingrained in many communities. Under the new law, however, this routine name change can now result in disenfranchisement unless a woman can provide official documentation linking her birth name to her current legal name, such as a marriage certificate, divorce decree, or court-ordered name change. Critics argue that this requirement creates an unnecessary barrier to voting and could effectively silence the voices of countless women across the country. This is nothing short of voter suppression wrapped in bureaucracy, said Linda Moreno, director of the National Coalition for Voting Equality. By weaponizing paperwork, the Safe Save Act systematically targets and marginalizes women. More women typically vote in elections than men. It looks like the boys in Washington, D.C. are a little worried about the midterms, ladies. The implications are staggering. Without a concerted and well-coordinated effort to ensure that women have the proper documentation, thousands, potentially millions, of voters could be turned away from the polls. The burden of proof falls squarely on the individual, placing an undue strain on working mothers, elderly women, and those living in rural or low-income areas who may not have easy access to legal records or the means to navigate the red tape. Activists are now calling for immediate outreach and education campaigns to prepare voters ahead of the next election cycle. Legal experts warn that the law could be challenged on constitutional grounds, but for now, the responsibility lies with voters to prove who they are, even when they already have a valid ID. This law doesn't keep our elections safe, said voter advocate Angela Kim. It keeps women out of the democratic process. That's not security. That's discrimination. As the nation reels from the passage of the Safe Save Act, women and their allies are mobilizing, determined to ensure that no one is denied their fundamental right to vote simply because of a name change. The fight for fair access to the ballot box is far from over. Elections have consequences. The vote count on this monstrosity of a bill was 220 to 208. It should be noted that the following Democrats voted with House Republicans to disenfranchise women voters. Reps: Ed Case of Hawaii, Jared Golden of Maine, Henry Cuellar of Texas, and Marie Glusenkamp of Washington. This is Sensible Sue signing off. Stay sensible out there.